Okay, that's that. Then X-Men number 5. Okay, and
What?
how much?
And what a year it has been. I have collected so many books this year. This has to be a record for me. I have a lot of books to go through. I have a whole stack just right here. These are the notable books that I purchased this year. So we're going to go through those. Of course, this has been, a lot of this has been predicated on me having a YouTube channel. I have always enjoyed collecting comic books, but creating this channel early in February of this year has been amazing. I've met so many cool people along the way, and I am so happy to be part of the YouTube comic book collecting community. Without any further ado, let's just get right into it. So my first video that you guys would have seen in February, which actually I recorded it back in January, the first 3 books that I'm going to show you here were 2 X-Men, and if you like X-Men, you're going to enjoy everything you're going to see here. 2 X-Men and a Eclipse book. So we had X-Men number 62, which is a lot of Savage Land Mutates got a first appearance here. I did collect a Airboy number 5, classic Dave Stevens cover here. And then Single Digit X-Men. This is one of 2 Single Digit X-Men that I was able to take off the list for this year. This is X-Men number 8, the first Unus the Untouchable. This was a deal that I couldn't turn down, and I think it grades like around a 3 if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, gorgeous book. It is, white. Black pages or black covers are notoriously unforgiving with their damage, and white pages are notoriously unforgiving with how they age. And this book here, even the video isn't giving it much justice. Maybe you can kind of see it. It's not really white much anymore. It does have some white to it, but it is mostly a yellowed cover. But it's a great book to have off my list. Then came the Toronto Comic Con in March, and I grabbed a lot of X-Men books off of that, and I also went into my LCS and dug through their basement. I did videos on both of those and found some pretty cool books from the basement there. So those books, I'll just pull them off the stack. Going from earliest issues, we have X-Men number 18. We have X-Men number 25. The first appearance of El Tigre. Then here came issue number 57. This was the big return of the Sentinels. Neil Adams, huge change into the size of the Sentinels and the fear of them. So just really cool book to have taken off the list as well. And Neil Adams is just, I love the first page of this book. I'll put it up here. It's with Polaris getting a Sentinel attacking her. It's just really gorgeous artwork. The next book was another big grail off the list. It is 58. The first Havoc. So Alex Summers, Scott's brother, or Cyclops' brother, was premiered in a few issues early. I think it was issue 52 or 53. Number 58 is when he turns into Havoc. And so this guy was the big book I grabbed at that Toronto Con. But it wasn't the only book I grabbed. I also grabbed issue number 78 here, which was a reprint of an earlier issue. When after issue 66, the X-Men went into reprints from issue 67 onwards to issue 93. So this was a reprint, and also this issue number 92 was a reprint. But that wasn't all that I picked up. So the big thing that I wanted to do this year was try to complete the Claremont run. I still have a lot of earlier issues of X-Men to collect, and I found some pretty good grades of them. So issue 96 here, that's the first Moira McTaggart. This is probably my highest grade Silver Age X-Men book. This one here, yeah, I think in the video when I released it, I said that it was probably number 99 or maybe 102, but after further inspection and going through these books, this is my highest grade Silver Age book. And then there's issue 99 itself, which is Death Star Rising, which I actually thought was interesting. This book came out in 1976. Star Wars didn't come out until 77. So the idea of Death Star really wasn't in the canon. We didn't know what a Death Star was So I know like the Star Wars project was a thing that existed, but this Death Star wasn't a thing. So I don't really know where Death Star came from, but the fact that it was a year before Star Wars actually came out, I think that's pretty interesting. And then I did have X-Men number 102, which I originally thought was probably my highest Silver Age. And the reason why I'm dinging it down is that there is a little bit, the top there, you can kind of see in the X, there's a little bit of white there. That's a little bit of a color break. And I think there's a little bend on the spine, which likely won't show up on the camera. I will try to show it there. No, it's not going to appear. But like that would, this probably would knock it down to a 9.2. That other X-Men, though, the 96 is probably, honestly, it could be, it's 9.8 candidacy. So either way, this is a great book to have knocked off. And this pretty much outside of X-Men 94 completed my entire Claremont run. So I still needed to get X-Men 94. But one of the runs I did complete this year was the annuals. And I did pick up X-Men Annual number 1 at that con as well. And this was it. Like now I have all the annuals across the board. This is a reprint here of issue 9, which is the Avengers battling the X-Men. And I think this one's 11. That's where the origin of Professor X. So yeah, this was the last book to have, and this is actually a pretty good copy. This is a better copy than my annual number 2. And I got this at a lesser price, if I'm not mistaken. So great. And July 2nd, 1970. I love the date stamps on the top there. I really wish all my books had date stamps. It just really, as a comic book fan, I just love the idea of having a little bit of the history of the book on the book. It's just a weird thing I like. Then there was the local comic book store where I did go through the basement and pulled out a few different gems. There's only 2 books I really wanted to showcase from that. This is New Mutants number 16. So this was the first appearance of the new Warpath. So James Proudstar. And this one here, it's the newsstand edition. It's not in the greatest of condition. You'll see just at the top right there, there's a little bit of nicking on the, like it's really, it's like tape got on it and tore the page there. But outside of that, it's a key book for New Mutants. But the bigger New Mutants key, save for issue 1 and 98 and probably 100, is annual number 2. And this is the first appearance of Psylocke, as we know her. So she did appear in the Captain Britain originally, but that Psylocke was a little bit different than this Psylocke. So this is our first real Psylocke. I'll just say Psylocke tons of times. Psylocke has Psylocke. So yeah, first appearance of Psylocke. It's a really great copy. They had a couple of these in that basement there, and another book off the list of key first appearances. Then in May, I had a few other books come in that I had ordered. These ones here are just some earlier X-Men's. This is probably one of my lower copy books of early X-Men's that I have. This is X-Men number 22. There is a 2 cent, permanent marker on the top there. I don't know why that's up there and why it would have been 2 cents, but you're gonna notice that there's some pretty decent fading just at the gradient. It kind of starts just below the 22 and works its way up, so it's pretty red. But yeah, if I really pull it back there, you can see how the fading does occur. It has a little bit of spine wear on it, but it's not the end of the world. But it's another one off the list, and I really, like I said in tons of other videos, I'm planning on completing the run. Once the run is complete, I'll slowly upgrade all the books. I just want to get the run done. And another one of the books I picked up was probably one of my favorite. I loved Werner Roth's work on X-Men and, of course, Neil Adams. But Dan Adkins was a great artist on the X-Men. He was only on a few issues, and he did the cover of this one. This is X-Men number 38. Don Heck did the interiors of it. And just Dan Adkins did such detail on these, they're supposed to be teenagers, but like look at Blob and how muscular he actually is. Angel on the cover there being super muscular as well. It's just a really interesting cover, and I really do think this is one of my favorite Adkins covers. And yeah, it's decent condition. You'll see there's a little bit of foxing along the side there where it is a little bit of browning showing up in the white there, but c'est la vie. Like I said, I'll eventually upgrade. And then I also got X-Men number 47. Nothing too crazy happens in this. That Maha Yogi is actually Merlin, so the X-Men battled him much earlier on, and this is the second battle of that. And then 2 other books I got from this aren't from the X-Men line, but one of them is kind of X-related. It is Dazzler #1, and this is pretty much a near mint copy of that. It was just dirt cheap along with the other books, so I went, hey, why not? I'll take it. And then the other book that came along with this order was one of my Golden Age grails, which I have talked about ad nauseum at this point. I'm not going to go into it, but, you know, Tomb of Terror #13. Oh, I love this cover. It's Lee Elias and yada, yada, yada. I have talked about it enough on this channel. I'm not going to bore you some more. And shortly after I got those books, I did a video about Vinnie's Garage, and I received from Nat at Vinnie's Garage is this Bernie Wrightson portfolio, which I did a whole opening or unboxing of that, so you check out that video. So in here is a bunch of photos, and yeah, it was a really awesome unboxing and awesome artwork of Bernie Wrightson. I would recommend checking out that video. And then in July, I won some auctions and got 2 books from that. So one of them was another favorite of mine with some Johnny Craig work. We have Vault of Horror. This is number 32. And of course, Johnny Craig's, you know, Dead People, Vault of Horror, just excellent condition book. I just love this. Again, I've gone over this one ad nauseum as well already. I'm not going to go any further onto it. But yeah, this was a great book and a great pickup for this year. The next book here I also won at the auction, and it's it's now my 5th slab. So I don't have any slab books. I have the 3 up there. The one here, I'm not a big fan of slabs, but this one here, again, showed up at a great price. It's X-Men #64, the first appearance of Sunfire. And it grades as a 5.0 because there's a lot of, it needs a press, and there's, you know, a little bit of spine wear and slight discoloration or staining on the cover. It could get a press and a clean, and that could probably bump it up a little bit, but realistically, the price putting it into that and then getting it regraded, if I wanted to go that route, it's not really worth it, so it's probably just best to stay in the slab. And then there was a couple other auctions in the same video, but from a different auction that I won. Neil Adams, X-Men again, number 51, picked that up. And then X-Men number 93 as well, which is a reprint, I think, of 45. So great to have those 2 out of the way. And then August was Toronto's Fan Expo, which is the biggest comic book convention in all of Canada. I went there and left sorely disappointed, but I did get some good books out of it. So I wasn't too, again, I did a whole video on that. I wasn't too impressed with everything that was there, but I did knock off a really early X-Men. Let me start with issue number 36. And this was the first Meccano, which is just Meccano, whatever. First, again, weird that this is considered a first appearance of Meccano when really, who the hell is Meccano, right? He didn't go anywhere. And then we have this really amazing cover. This is X-Men number 43. I just love Magneto on this cover. And just to reiterate, I've already shown a few books that were like this, but because X-Men sales weren't doing so well, they shrunk the logo of X-Men and really wanted to put a focus on what the excitement is in the book. And so for a little while, a lot of the X-Men logos were shrunk. Different titles on the top there, just to try and see if that would stick, and so and it worked. Like, this is just so cool. It's such an awesome cover, and there's a Cyclops on here swinging on a rope. So, you know, you got Angel in X-Men number 1 there fighting Magneto with a bazooka, and then you got Cyclops here swinging it on a rope. So I don't know, they're teenagers still, right? They don't know what they're doing. But I did pick up a really good key issue. It's X-Men number 49. This is the first appearance of Polaris. Issue number 50 is sometimes erroneously attributed to being her first appearance because she's on the cover there, and you know, it is a great cover. I don't own it yet, and still on my list of things to get, but this one here is her actual first appearance, Lorna Day and Polaris. And this cover here is, you know, it's a white cover, just like the one I showed you before. There's a little bit more yellowing on this cover. If I do a side-by-side comparison, you'll see that the X-Men number 49 here is a little bit duller than the one on the 43. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. Like, they still are beautifully presenting books. You know, this Steranko cover is just, wow. And I have always loved just Angel on the top there. I mean, I don't hate his costume, but, you know, it's just such a cool cover. And again, awesome key book to have out of the way. But the next real big book that I grabbed at that convention, oh boy, X-Men number 5. So this is, I have X-Men 1, and then I have 5, and then I have a few as we get up there. With X-Men number 1, it's the first appearance of Magneto. 4 is the first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and then 5 here is obviously the second appearance of Evil Mutants, the third overall appearance of Magneto. This is the first appearance of Asteroid M, and yeah, it's just a really awesome book. I've always enjoyed this cover, you know, Angels Trapped, and early Jack Kirby. You got Scarlet Witch there, who is all in green still for whatever reason. They haven't changed their colors over yet. I don't know when actually she gets the red costume. It must be, I don't know when that happens. But yeah, for the first little bit, she's still in green. And yeah, X-Men number 5. Huge pickup this year. Huge. And then in September, I picked up another 2 books. One I had picked off of seller on Instagram. Keith from Keith Days of Future Past had a Canadian version of Weird Science number 17. So this is a Wally Wood cover, and I just did a video recently about this and the next few books, so I won't go too deep into them, but here's Weird Science number 17. It's fairly beat up, but, you know, I like my EC horror, so here we are. And then the other book I picked up just recently at a flea market was Too Much Coffee Man number 1. This is not a big book, but I am just a big fan of Shannon Wheeler and his humor and his artwork, and they have the first appearance, first printing of Too Much Coffee Man number 1. Finding that at a flea market, especially in Canada, was just a great thing to have. This is what makes the joy of comic book hunting, really. Things like this, pulling these out of the blue like this. And then lastly, if you haven't seen the video yet, you probably should go back and see it, because I go into great detail about the book, and I go through actually showcasing what's going on inside. But it is X-Men number 94. And so this book here completed my Claremont run. I did actually complete it this year, which I didn't ever expect to do, but this book showed up again on Instagram, A1's Comics, and this was an unexpected surprise. So getting this book now, I have issue 92 to 544, just completely done. So I just need to get the earlier issues, but yeah, Claremont's run is done. Huge. So this is the last big book of the year. Very apt that it is the last big book of the year. I picked it up in October, so you know, there was a good budget for 2024. I think I may pump the brakes a little bit in 2025, but this was a pretty big pickup, so that sealed the deal for 2024. So I really do appreciate you guys watching, you guys following, subscribing, liking, leaving comments. It has been a wild ride so far in 2024. I cannot wait to see what 2025 brings. I am constantly on the lookout of being on other people's YouTube channels, being part of the community further. It is just such fun to talk comics, talk collecting, talk shop, talk the hobby. So by all means, check out my other videos. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here. Thanks again for enjoying this content and just giving me a reason to do this. I'm enjoying doing this, and as long as you're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. So thanks again. Is the video working? Why are there so many comic books? What am I gonna do here? No!